Welcome to Cinemophile, where we bring you the best in independent, documentary, and foreign films, and we talk to the people who made them. I'm your host, Mike Caspar, and you can find out more about the program by going to cinemaphilepod.com. And Autumn Summer is a coming-of-age love story that tells the tale of Kevin and Cody, a young couple spending the final month before college in a magical Michigan lake town chasing an endless summer. We're joined today by the director and writer and producer of this wonderful film, Jared, and the cinematographer behind this wonderful film, Brandon Somerhalder. To both of you, welcome to Cinemophile.
Thank you, Mike.
Wonderfully done. I think so much of this film is what I described, and I've heard you say already that it's a slice of a particular point in the lives of the people that we see in it. It happens to focus on the couple, Kevin and Cody, but it is. I think, and I hope that all of us have experienced some version of this film in the sense of time spent with friends, somewhere magical, whether it's a lakefront or a beach front or somewhere in your life. Because I think that's one of the strengths of the film is it feels like we've lived some version of this in our own lives. At least I hope the people who are watching it have. So Jared, let's talk about the inspiration for the story. Where did it come from?
The inspiration is very much a true story. It's about summers that I am very fortunate enough to spend with my best friend Kevin and his family up in northern Michigan. It's a tradition which his parents started 40 years ago almost, that I've now gotten to be a part of for 20 years. And now part of that tradition is like the one summer that we made the movie about it. As Brandon has mentioned, it was a pandemic derived script. I always felt that if I was able to capture the feeling of being up there, which is it's a feeling of goodness and renewal and healing. It's therapy every year, essentially, and it's also adventure and it's thrilling. So I was like, well, how do we take a 40-year tradition, a 20-year tradition, a feeling, and make it something that's accessible and tangible? And very quickly, I realized that the summer to tell of all the summers was the one in 2010 after high school, where the main characters are going to be Kevin and his longtime girlfriend, Cody, who had been up there with us for 4 years and sharing and telling their love story. As I was a witness to that love, so were Kevin's parents, and they were dealing with, the kids moving on. So it was just very clear that that summer after high school, which is something that we're all very lucky that we got to experience this place. I love my parents, but they're divorced parents, and a beautiful family tradition like this isn't what I got to experience. And so I was very fortunate enough to be brought into this world and to see that it's all possible, which in my interpretation, it's all possible, meaning having a family that loves each other so much that this beautiful tradition gets formed and these memories get made. Distilling all that into a script that I was able to then be Brandon was the first person I sent it to. And I had no idea if this very esoteric experience, and like you said, right, some people were I was waiting for the car crash to happen or quote unquote something bad to happen. And it doesn't, because that's certainly not this story and not the experience. So I had no idea if a story where the only extraordinary thing happening is friendship and love, so to speak, would be resonant. Although those are my favorite movies. So why wouldn't it be? But when Brandon was in and he related to it and he felt that there was something here that he could capture, we were essentially off and running.
There's so many strengths that the film has in terms of it has a lot more characters in the film than a lot of independent films have. A lot of different distinct people with their own kind of backstories that you give us enough information to give us a sense of them, and as they interact with one another, it helps push the narrative forward. And I think that really is really what is struck by. We have Kevin's parents, their lives, we get a sense of them, and then all of his friends, all the buddies who are around him, and your ability in the film to be able to draw distinctions between the characters and give us a sense of them in terms of their own lives, but also how they relate to one another, really helps the film move along. And I think it helps push forward that idea of a sense of community is really what we see, a community of an extended families and otherwise in the film. And I really think that that's what helps some hardened heart like me overcome the exactly what you described, waiting for the car crash. Because it sustains the film. That's really what sustains this story from start to finish is once you've gone, I'm going on a bit here, but I really want people to understand that once you decide you're going to go along for the ride, it's well worth all of the all of your reservations you may have because again, I think I've just grown up in a ecosystem of films that you're expecting the worst to happen, and I'm not giving anything away here to say don't worry about it. As somebody says, does the father say, or what's the catchphrase he said? We'll have time. Well, I'm blowing this up here a little bit.
At the at like the dinner table
Yeah, yeah. He,
where Mary Lou is like, don't, kind of like don't waste time wishing we're not getting any more time. Just
yeah,
like kind of
yeah.
enjoy, live it.
I think that's something that the audience should understand. That should sustain you. Is that exact what he was saying, what you described? So yeah, I'm really congratulations because it's not an easy feat to do what you did here with all these characters and terrific actors, your selection of actors. We'll get into that in a minute. I want to bring Brandon Somerhalder into this conversation because you've primarily, if exclusively, worked on documentary films in the past. And by the way, congratulations on your work with Come
Cool.
See Me in the Good Light, and congratulations on the Academy Award nomination. But Brandon, exclusively, I think, documentaries. Now you're in a narrative environment. Tell me a little bit about your experience.
During the pandemic, Jared had written this. It must have been April, May, June of 2020 that you sent it to me because I had done this like RV trip during the pandemic to go and shoot a bunch of documentaries around the country. And I remember reading it in my RV and getting like really emotional just because it was a group of friends all together. We had all been like FaceTiming. It was very nostalgic. It felt like the pandemic was also for our generation, but other generations too, this kind of like before and after
Hmm.
thing. And yeah, that story, it was like this representation of kind of the before times as it just felt like something beautiful and like a wonderful reminder of what friendship and life can be at its best. I remember we were talking about does there need to be more conflict? And obviously, this was much more a Jared conversation. He was the writer and director, but it's not a 3 hour long movie. It's like a slice of life of like a beautiful representation of friendship and family and love, young love, whether it goes right or wrong. And so I loved that about it.
In addition to your affection for the script, what else went into your decision to come aboard an autumn summer as the cinematographer?
Yeah, I mean, it was because Jared is a close friend and he was, okay with kind of breaking I don't know, the narrative. I had shot shorts for some friends in the past, and it's always a really fun experience. But I think what I really like about documentaries is every day that we're shooting on set on a documentary, we come back to wherever we're staying, and we tend to talk about what happened that day from a place of like curiosity and surprise of like and discovery. It's like, oh, I can't believe what happened today. Can you believe how they reacted to this? Do you remember that moment that we got where we captured this? And on narrative, I feel like it was more like a sense of relief of like we executed something that we had planned for a while. And yeah, there's like a fulfillment in that, but there's not as much of like a yearning, I guess, that I really like on documentaries. Jared was and the cast, which I think was really important too, were very open to just kind of like exploring. We have these scenes, we have these ideas of what the characters are going through. And it's not like they were ad-libbing the whole movie at all, but it's more, there was still that sense of discovery of like, what is this scene really about? What are we here to capture? What are we here to do? And yeah, every day we would kind of like finish the day and it felt like more like a documentary. Of course, we were like there were challenges that we were executing, but it was really fun to just kind of like allow us all to be surprised by what the actors were doing and what we were capturing and yeah, and I think that happens with an ensemble too, where there's more kind of like opportunities for wild card or spontaneity. Yeah, so I found it to be a blast. It was
Yeah.
a really good time and a really good team too. I brought in my first AC who I work with on a lot of docs, and he was like a big help. And a sound recordist who's one of my closest friends as well, who I work with on a ton of documentaries. And so it was very much like that kind of atmosphere where we're all very willing to go with the flow, which I think on narrative stuff, sometimes it doesn't happen, and there's a reason. It's usually for efficiency, but for this one we were like, let's just go with the flow and see what we capture and find some nice surprises.
Think you mostly shot in the same location. Mostly. Or at least
Yeah,
you fooled me if you didn't, but yeah.
yeah, we shot. I mean, we were there for I think 3 weeks of shooting, and we stayed on the property that Jared goes every summer with his family friends. And yeah, we like the whole crew stayed on that property, and we bounced around that region in northern Michigan and shot there, but it was all every bit of the movie was shot up there. And yeah, it's a really special place. I had never been there before we scouted, and kind of felt like a curtain opened. I grew up in Kansas, and every summer we would go to Oklahoma to this like Army Corps of Engineers, like honestly kind of like shitty little lake, but I loved it. It was amazing. I told Jared like this is my version of that place, and it's less about the beauty of the place and more about the we would bring our RV with my grandparents and camp out there and go just like catch tadpoles and stuff like that. And it's like it's the same idea that I think, like you said, everybody has a version of this, even if it's not in this like majestically beautiful place. It's like the feeling of nostalgia of that time in your life, even for the parents. Like I feel like parents can relate, and we've heard from parents who see the movie and they're like, I relate to the parents of the kids and the grandparents. So yeah, that was my experience in the summers growing up.
Yeah, and it seems like you really leaned into the golden hour shooting a lot, which is great. Which is
Uh,
great. It looks great. It really does. It really looks, it's a terrific looking film as well. So,
yeah, we definitely our first AD, Curtis, we every week I would make him sit down and I would basically make him kind of like book into the days with our exteriors, and then all the interiors would be in the middle of the day when the light is terrible. And, sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, but we generally hit those spots when there's like a exterior scene that we need to do. It's either at, you know, sunrise or sunset or
yeah.
the nicer parts of the day.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, Jared Isaac, the not only is the story wonderfully done, the cinematography, but you got some very good actors to come aboard here. And
Amazing.
I will confess, I have not seen a lot of Lukita Maxwell's work, nor Mark McKenna, but they're just terrific. And God, if they don't have the chemistry, this is a different film. And they really had some chemistry, and it didn't feel forced. It just felt like they really, were in love.
They are wonderful, and I would certainly encourage you to check out their work because, yeah, I mean, I'm not the first to see how incredible they are. Mark is the lead of this show, Wayne, which has garnered a cult following around the world. I mean, people have come through our festival run from hours away because they wanted to see Mark on screen. And Lukita is absolutely sensational in Shrinking, and she's got this massive A24 movie coming up, The Backrooms. So her
She,
talent is being seen on all these different mediums, and she does theater in LA. And yeah, I mean the two of them, the whole film rides on their chemistry, and they carried it. They really are so incredible. It's like it was magic watching them work every day. I mean, Brandon, I know you feel the same. It was like to put a camera on Mark and Lukita was absolutely mesmerizing. Pretty much every moment of every day, and it was a privilege to just watch them bring the rich inner lives of these characters to the forefront. And Mark, I see him as this kind of like 5,000-year-old being in that Irish body of his. And like Lukita is this effervescent, visceral unicorn of a person. And those two energies coming together formed the chemistry that you saw on screen. And yeah, I just think they're absolutely incredible, and I am not the only one, which is why they have told such great stories. Mark's first film was John Carney's acclaimed Sing Street.
yeah.
So it's like people have seen the talent that they have, and I'm so excited for them. This is their first lead film role for both of them, and I'm really excited for everybody to see them do what they do.
So he is Irish. I thought so from looking at his bio, but
Yes, he is.
yeah, you
He's
would
from
know.
Dublin. He's
Yeah.
from Dublin. He did some great work on those Midwest A's that we worked on. Yeah, yeah. No, he did. Mark's dialect work was incredible.
Yeah, I agree. And the other performers, the other actors in the film are wonderful as well. Mom and Dad, that would be Louise Barnes and Tony
Yes.
Horton, are terrific. Those are often thankless roles, thankless sort of feel like sort of thrown in sometimes. But boy, they just do a great job. They have chemistry just in the time that we see them even together and when they're interacting with all the friends. And then that's the other thing, his posse, if you will, of people that he brings to the party are
Oh, we
all
will.
great. Hmm? What's
Oh,
that?
we will. We will. Absolutely. I agree with you. No, it's like, look, that ties back into what you said about those characters. June Yu playing 18-year-old me, Julian Bass playing our other best friend, Martin, and then, like you said, Louise Barnes and Tony Horton. Iconic P90X fitness icon creator Tony Horton doing his like first acting role and was amazing. But those characters having their own rich inner lives, but also being supporting characters and supporting the narrative of Kevin and Cody. Yeah, I mean, I think it was the intention of wanting to give them their identities, but also like having that be a function of supporting Kevin and Cody's story. But yeah, those guys, incredible actors, and the ensemble nature of the film. I kind of didn't look. This is my first movie, and I wrote this, and I was like, the trip is a super small. This is an intimate experience, and then kind of lined out the script and it was like, this is a bit bigger than, maybe it's like, and then I'm like, oh, you're right. There's a lot of indie movies where it's just like, it really is just two people.
Yeah.
Um, but I loved our ensemble cast. It was so much fun.
I will tell you, can I'm going to inject here just for a second
Do it, my
because
friend.
I was thinking about the rhythm of the dialogue, kind of the interaction, the back and forth. And there's a little bit of Aaron Sorkin in here.
Wow. Well, okay, look, okay. I one, no. Two, but okay,
Do
I
you
will
see why
say
I said that though? I mean, do you understand why I would say something?
I only understand that because way back in the day when I was just trying to like make this happen in any way, shape, or form, I had been talking to some management company that had some actor. I don't even remember how I got linked up with them, but they did coverage on it. And one of the interns was like, kind of like Aaron Sorkin type dialogue. So, I mean, that's cool. I'll take it. I'll take it as a
Okay.
compliment.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. But yeah, that's an honor. But like, does that mean we went too quippy? Did we go too quippy?
No, you didn't. No, I said a little. I didn't say you were full Sorkin. I said you were a little.
Thank you.
Okay. So,
It's very,
no.
very
Yeah.
deeply appreciated. Well, he's written more than like two scripts, so maybe we'll.
Well, I just going back, Brandon. I just want to talk a little bit about your work because, as I said, I've Ben Proudfoot's been on the show a couple of times. Concerto was a conversation. Queen of Basketball, and what was the last one? I just blanked out. That
Come
you
see me
were
in the good light.
go. Oh yes, of course. Why can't I come see me in a good light? And in the good light, and it is, they're beautiful films. Queen of Basketball just blew me away. I just thought, and you shot her, lots of close-ups, amazing to get to know her. And it was a lot of black backgrounds and just, yeah, you have a beautiful eye for this stuff. But are you going to continue? Are you going to go back to documentaries, or has this film brought you to the narrative world in another way?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I'm still like only documentaries since we shot this film. And yeah, Ben and I we're actually premiering our latest film in Ghana tonight. He's there right now. Yeah, we've got a lot of fun documentaries. I don't know. I just love that process of making documentaries. So I would love to shoot more narrative stuff, but I feel like the crossover doesn't happen so often just because there's a lot of really talented narrative DPs out there too. But when somebody is looking for somebody who likes more of, I wouldn't say like documentary style, because I feel like that, gets used a lot, but just kind of like more like the mentality of what we do on documentary set versus what the narrative folks do, I'm open to it for sure. And yeah, it's also, Jared's gonna write more stuff too. Yeah, and I've got a lot of, talented friends as well that, if they asked, I would love to. But it's more, I just love shooting documentaries, and that's kind of what I've been doing
Yeah,
for.
well, it was a few years ago, I was noticing a lot of independent filmmakers were using documentary cinematographers because, in my sense was, in my opinion, it's not for certain, that the independent filmmaker, first or second film, or just that's the genre they work in. It's usually a run and gun kind of no budget. You got nothing other than, you just rubbing sticks together to make this thing happen. And that's kind of a documentaries filmmaker's MO. They have to be light on their feet. They have to be able to move quickly, do catch things that they have to get.
Yeah.
And I think that is a characteristic that would serve any independent filmmaker who's maybe first starting out or forever. It doesn't really matter whether they're the beginning of their career or in the middle of their career. I just think it's a great kind of skill set to have.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely utilize that of like prioritizing whatever's happening in front of us. Kind of like Jared always said, the environment is there, like, and that's usually the hardest part of an indie film is kind of like establishing the world. And then once you establish that world, when you have characters to play around in that world, things happen. And so being able to be flexible to capture whatever happens within that world, I think being light on your feet, like you said, using available light, being nimble with a crew, yeah, and just, yeah, going with the flow. I think sometimes, people become more rigid as they work in a narrative or commercial ecosystem just because you want to capture the best possible version of something, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I think sometimes that can go against whatever's happening in the moment. We had a couple of those moments on the first few days where I think it was like we were doing touch-ups or there was like a production design element that was going in the background and something was happening and I started filming and there was kind of this like, are we gonna prioritize those moments or are we gonna add the kind of like extra design elements that elevate it this much? And I'm always one that's like, let's just the actors are the soul of the movie.
Yeah.
Much as the design and all of that helps, it's all in service of like what's happening with them in those moments.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's about being kind of present in any given moment.
Well, before I let you go, Brandon, you've worked on 3 Oscar nominated films. Congrats. That's a pretty good batting average.
Thanks. Well, it's very talented directors and producers.
Congratulations on this. I do think that this is going to find an audience. What's the website people I can send people to?
The website is anautumnsummer.com, or you can go on, if you want to check it, follow on the Instagram. It is at an autumn summer film, and that'll uh, tell everybody about the theatrical screenings we've got, and if you want to just stay up to date on the journey.
Very good. And your distributor is Blue Harbor Entertainment.
Yeah,
That would be
thank
the
you for
distributors. Yeah.
love the folks over there, Seth, Mike, and Amanda. Thanks for believing in us. Thanks for nestling us in your blue waters.
To both of you, thank you so very much for your
Thank
work.
you, Mike. Really
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time to check the film, and I hope that was a little sliver of light and healing on that hardened heart of yours. You don't seem to have a hardened heart to me, though.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
You seem like a big softy to me.
well, I am. Believe me, I cry at card tricks. I mean, believe me, the Irish in me is strong.
Yes,
So
sir.
yeah, so yeah. Well, I want to thank both of you, the director,
Likewise.
writer, and I know you wore other hats of this wonderful film, An Autumn Summer. That would be Jared Isaac, as well as Brandon Somerhalder, who's done a lot of great work, including cinematography on this particular film, An Autumn Summer. To both of you, thank you so very much for your time today.
Thanks, Mike. It was lovely.
You have been listening to Cinemaphile with Mike Kaspar, the place where you will hear from the best in independent documentary and foreign filmmakers. Please check out our previous interviews as well as upcoming interviews and special programming by going to cinemaphilepod.com. We are also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, searchable under Cinemaphile with Mike Kaspar. Until next time, thank you for listening.